Hello everyone, Board Game Lawyer here. Happy release day. It is August the 18th, 2023, which is the release date for the new expansion for Marvel Champions, the card game Next Evolution. We've been waiting for this expansion for quite some time. It has finally hit, and today is release day, and happily I got my copy here, timely. I purchased it from my good friends over at the Griffons Lair game shop out of Erie, Pennsylvania. I pre-ordered it from them, and they made sure that I got mine in a timely way so that I could have my copy on release day. So I'm very grateful to them. Great service, great price. Check them out, Griffin's Lair Game Shop. They have a location there in Erie, Pennsylvania, as well as one in Pittsburg, Pennsylvania. And I'll put a link to their online store, in my show notes down below. But today, let's get excited because Next Evolution is the next expansion for Marvel Champions, the card game. We notice that we have Juggernaut on the cover, one of my favorite all-time villains in the Marvel Universe, as well as some others, Domino and Cable. So those are the heroes in the box. Let's take a look at the box here. So if we flip it over, we'll notice that the text on the back of the box says, Next Evolution, I am the Juggernaut, ain't nothing, ain't nobody can beat me. Kane Marco. So it tells us that this is a giant size 260 card expansion that brings X-Force to the Marvel Champions, the card game, along with a brand new card type, player side schemes. Now players can pursue their own objectives to power up their heroes and take down the villain. Next Evolution comes with 5 all-new interconnected scenarios that task you and your friends with uncovering who wants to kidnap Hope Summers, Cable's adopted daughter, and why. Can you thwart this diabolical plot and save Hope? Sure we can. We're going to try our best, right? So there are 5 new scenarios featuring the Marauders, Juggernaut, Mr. Sinister, and Strife. And of course, we have 2 complete pre-built hero decks, which are Domino and Cable, which I fully intend to unbox here today. So let's take a look and see what's inside. Very attractive box. I like the artwork on the outside. I'll go ahead and slice open the plastic here. I'll do it off screen. That way if for some reason there's blood, you won't see it. All right, let's get the plastic off the box. Use my Zippo knife here. All right, there we go. That came off nicely. And let's take a look inside. Let's unbox the cards here to get that new box smell. All right. And there we go. All right, we'll just put our box top over to the side. And we'll notice first that there are some rules on top. We'll take a look at those first. So we have the Next Evolution rulebook here. We'll just kind of flip through there. We won't read all this book, obviously, but we'll take a look here and see that we've got some villain cards pictured. We've got this new type of a card, player side scheme. And let's see, what else? I know it mentioned Hope Summers on the back, so we got some write-up on that particular card to see what happens throughout the course of the campaign. Here's all of our featured keywords. It looks like most of them we are familiar with, so not a whole lot to learn there. But as always, what we would probably expect, there we go, here's our comic book. There's Scenario 1, the Morlock Siege, which I hope to be able to play that here shortly. So, yeah, there's our book. On the back is our campaign log. Looks like player side schemes, chosen scenarios, encounter cards, environments, cards that are earned are all listed on the back of there. And here's our credits. Michael Boggs and Tony Fanchi are the ones who made this. Additional development was done by Caleb Grace, all excellent card developers. So, all right, good game developers. So there's our rulebook. Let's take a look at what we really want to see, which are the cards. So here's our cable deck. Here is the Domino deck. And these most likely are all the encounter cards. And it looks like there's 3 packages of encounter cards to go through. So it's 260 cards, so that's quite a bit to go through here this evening. So we'll get those ready and take a look and see what we've got here. So I'll just kind of put these off to the side. So we know that the Marauders, that's probably the first set that we noticed that we'll be taking on. And then hard to say which one's next after that. So we'll set those aside up here. Here is Domino, and here is Cable. I'll most likely open those first. So let's get our trusty knife here, our razor knife, and we'll pop open Cable first. And again, I'll do this over here in the safety of off screen. If you hear any screaming, it's because I nicked my cards. All right, here we go. Look at that. Cards out of the wrapper. So here he is, Domino, or Cable. He is one of our heroes in the game. This is his soldier hero side. He's in the X-Force. He has 2 thwart, 2 attack, and 2 defense. And he's slick. Brand new cards. He has a response. After Cable defeats a side scheme, ready him. And you can do this a limit of once per phase. All right, now let's take a look at the other side of his hero card, which is his alter ego form. And Nathan Summers is his name. He has a recovery of 4. In his alter ego form, he is both a mutant and a soldier. And it says that you may include player side schemes from any aspect in your deck. Ooh. Soldier X setup. Search your deck and discard pile for a player side scheme and put it into play. So he sets up that new card type, the player side scheme, which I didn't read the rules on that, but we'll talk about those whenever I start playing some live games. So we'll look forward to seeing some player side schemes. Let's look and see what else is in his hero kit here. So here is Body Slide, which is an event, change form. Each other player may change to the form that you are in. So that's kind of a leadership card, so to speak. All right, we have Mind Scan, which is a superpower. Remove 3 threat from a scheme, so it's 3 copies of Mind Scan, which allows us to remove threat from a scheme. The next card is Precognition, which is another psionic superpower. It has the ability to look through top cards of the encounter deck. All right. And it costs 0. It's a 0 cost event. Comes with 1 copy of that. We also have Telekinetic Blast, which is another psionic superpower. Looks like a lot of psionic abilities here. We've got 2 copies of that. And here's one of those, I believe it's player side scheme. Yes, it is. Technovirus Purge. It has a victory of 0. Characters other than Cable cannot remove threat from Technovirus Purge. While Technovirus Purge is in the victory display, Nathan Summers and Cable gain the Sonic trait, and Cable gets +1 thwart, +1 attack, and +1 defense. Now this is while it's in the victory display, so it has text that's active after it's defeated, so I like that. That's pretty cool. We also have Gray Malkin, which is a location. It's a support location. That's our next card. And we also have Professor, Persona Tech. So this is another support, alter ego action. Exhaust Professor and choose to either draw 1 card or search your deck and discard pile for a player side scheme and add it to your hand. So that is the Professor. Now we have an upgrade. Ascani Sun. Hero response, which is a thwart. After you defend against an enemy attack, exhaust the Ascani Sun and spend a energy resource or remove threat from a scheme equal to your hero's thwart. All right, nice. We've got Forced Amnesia, which is our next card. It's a onesie. Also an upgrade that goes on our hero. We have Plasma Rifle, which is our next card. It's a tech weapon, which is restricted. So that's another upgrade we can put on Cable. Also, we have telekinetic force field. Hero form only, hero interrupt. This is an upgrade. When a friendly character would take any amount of damage, discard telekinetic force field to prevent all of that damage. All right, there we go. And we have a temporal leap, which is our final 15th card in our hero kit today. That's an upgrade, and it's a tactic upgrade. When the main scheme will be completed, remove this card from the game, put a side scheme from the victory display into play, move 4 threat from the main scheme to the side scheme. All right. Interesting. All right, so the ability to manipulate and to do things with those player side schemes. All right. Let's take a look at looks like leadership is the aspect that Nathan Summers' Cable comes with. So we have Caliban. That's one of our allies. We also have Phantom X, which is a kind of a fan favorite. I know I've heard some say they can't wait till Phantom X makes it into the game. Well, he's here. We also got Sunspot, who's another ally. So that's 3 allies that come in the leadership kit. There's also mission planning, probably a full round of those. So there's 1, 2, 3 mission plannings. This is an event, hero action. Play if there's a side scheme in the victory display. And then here is a player side scheme, call for backup, victory 0. When defeated, each player may search their deck and discard pile for an ally and put it into play. Ooh, I like that. I could think of some good uses for that. Another one, lock and load, another player side scheme. When defeated, and okay, so these are extra cards. Remember it said that he can use other aspect player side schemes, so here's another one, lock and load. And then we have establish perimeter, another one. So his special ability allows him to include those in his deck, so that's pretty cool. All right, sorry if there's a lot of glare here on the board this evening. We have Eva, who is a support. It's a vehicle. If Phantom X is not in play, discard Eva. Action, exhaust Eva. Choose, remove 1 threat from a scheme. Deal 1 damage to an enemy. Heal 1 damage from Phantom X. So this has to be, Phantom X has to be in play in order to, okay, interesting. Uncanny X-Force. We have 3 copies of that. Uncanny X-Force. It's a team card, support. Play under any player's control, max 1 team card per player. If each of your characters has the X-Force trait, each ally you control gets +1 thwart and takes -1 consequential damage after thwarting a side scheme. Okay. Excellent. We have Mission Leader. It's a title card. It's an upgrade. Reduce the cost to play Mission Leader by 1 if your identity has the Soldier trait. Hero response after a side scheme is defeated. Exhaust Mission Leader. Each player draws 1 card. Okay. And we make it into some basic cards. Here's a basic ally, Deadpool. A lot of folks have been waiting for Deadpool in the game. Deadpool would be defeated by consequential damage. Here's 3 damage from him. Instead, add an acceleration token to the main scheme. So if we've seen the new Deadpool hero pack spoiled, we'll see that that's very thematic. Ooh, Deathlock. I remember reading Deathlock comic books back in the 90s, and he was one of my favorites. I made sure I grabbed up all those copies of Deathlock when they came out. So, yeah, here, when Deathlock enters play, choose an upgrade in any player's discard pile with a cost of 1 or less that can be attached to Deathlock. Attach that upgrade to Deathlock. All right, makes sense. That's thematic. We have Frenemies. It's another basic card. It's an event. Has a wild resource on it. It's a team-up ability. All right, Cable and Deadpool. And then we have another player side scheme, build support. Wow, lots of player side schemes here in our deck. Here is the resource card. Double the number of resources this card generates while paying for a Sonic card. Ooh. So the Power of the Mind is a new type of resource. Interesting. All right, and we get 3 copies of that, which I guess we can include all 3 copies. Yeah, there's no limit, so you can include 3 copies of that in your deck. What is this one? This is a weapon, an upgrade. Scimitar. Restricted. After you play another Sonic card, exhaust Scimitar, deal 2 damage to an enemy. All right. A restricted weapon. We also have a sidearm. I think we've seen that one before. This is a reprint with different artwork on it, the sidearm. All right, we got 3 copies of that. We have the Technovirus Resurgence, which is a Cable's Obligation. Give the Nathan Summers player. When revealed. All right, there's our obligation, which we will follow that up with our Nemesis. So Cable's Nemesis is Strife. That is his Nemesis minion. We've got Back to the Future. All right. Clever. Clever use of a title. We also have the Telekinetic Force Field included in here. How many copies of those? Just 1. We have Mind Scan, and we have a Telekinetic Blast. So those are all of Cable's Nemesis. So that's the player deck cards. Interesting. Not very many reprints, so that's good. And we've got a lot of side schemes that we can include in other players' decks, in other characters' decks. So really like the looks of Nathan Summers. Interested to see how that works out. All right. We'll flip him over to his Cable side. Let's take a look at the Domino kit. I'll go ahead and open that up. Bear with me. All right, I think I put enough dent in the plastic to get it open. All right, very good. Put our trash off to the side. So there's Domino. That is another hero card. She has 1 thwart, 2 attack, and 3 defense. Posse and X-Force is her traits. When counting resources on cards, discard from the top of your deck. Count each printed wild icon twice. Action. Choose a card in your hand. Swap that card with the top card of your deck. Limit once per round. Comes into play with 9 hit points and a hand size of 5. Well, in hero form, alter ego form, hand size of 6. Nina Thurman. 3 recovery. She has an alter ego ability, which is an action. Choose a card in your hand. Swap that card with the top card of your discard pile. Limit once per round. Okay, so a lot of manipulating the deck for Domino. I'll set her hero card off to the side for now. So we have Diamondback, who is her ally. Diamondback. Ooh, we got another ally. The second ally. So this is a new feature for a hero, is to have 2 kind of signature allies. So Outlaw is the other one. Okay, 2 allies. We have a Good Workout, which is 2 copies of that. Superpower. Event. Attack event. Deal 4 damage to an enemy and discard the top card of your deck. For each resource icon discard this way, deal 1 additional damage to that enemy. And you get 2 copies of that. Luck Be Lady is our next one. That's an event. Superpower. Looks like it has some options on there. Heal, remove threat, deal damage, choose one of the above. All right. So there's that one. There's the right place at the right time. 2 copies of that in our deck. Ooh, Jackpot. Look at that. 3 resources. Response. After this card is discarded from the top of your deck, shuffle it back into your deck. Nice. So it's a way to just got 1 copy of that. So Jackpot. Nice. A 3 resource card that has all 3 different resources on there. What a nice way to remove some of those attachments that some of the villains get. All right, so there's Jackpot. There's Pip the Pug, who's a support. All right, always good to get a dog, another dog into play. The Painted Lady is a vehicle support. The Painted Lady costs 1 to play. After you discard a card from the top of your deck, attach that card face down here to a maximum of 3. I'm noticing that there's a tremendous amount of wild resources in her deck. Wow. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot. I'm sure it's to her detriment somehow. Hopefully it's more to her advantage. So the Painted Lady is the next one. Now we've got 2 copies of Domino's Pistol, which is a restricted card. Exhaust Domino's Pistol, choose an enemy and discard the top card of your deck. Deal 1 damage to an enemy for each resource icon discard this way. This attack gains ranged. Wow, you swap out that 3 resource and pull off Domino's Pistol. That's pretty slick. We have Lucky and Good. So she has a lot of lucky cards. Here's an upgrade. And then we have the Probability Field, another superpower. When you use a basic power, discard the top card of your deck. You get +1 of that power. For this use, for each resource icon discarded this way. Okay. So, interesting use of resources Domino has. That's all of her hero kit. That's card number 15. So now we've come to her aspect cards, and we've got Feral, which is an ally. We have Wolf's Bane, another ally. All right, and then we have Even the Odds, 3 copies of that. Requirement is an energy resource. Hero action, remove 1 threat from each side scheme, deal 1 damage to the villain for each side scheme defeated this way. Wow. So you get those side schemes within range, and then you can do extra damage. Cost 2 to even the odds. Team Investigation Alliance. The players can play this card cost as a group. So it's 2. It's got this little per player icon next to it. Interesting. Remove 3 threat from a side scheme. So that's the Alliance card. 3 per player threat from a side scheme. Nice. Okay, I catch that. How many copies of that? 3 copies of that, so you get a complete round of those. We have Take Out the Guards, which is another player side scheme. It reads Victory 0. When defeated, each player may discard 1 non-elite minion from play. Take out the guards. 1 non-elite minion from play. So if you've got a lot of threat removal in your deck, these side schemes are a way of taking care of that and getting one in the victory display. We have Overwatch. We've seen that card before. I believe that's a reprint, Overwatch. And we get 3 copies of that with some new artwork on it. We have the Atlas Bear Posse, Wakanda. Ooh, a Wakanda card. Nice. Exhaust Atlas Bear. Look at the top card of a player deck. If that card is an event, you may deal 1 damage to Atlas Bear to add that card to its owner's hand. Okay. And we got White Fox, another ally, another basic ally. After White Fox is discarded from the top of your deck, put her into play under your control. Then we have the Posse, which is an event. You control at least 3 characters with the Posse trait. All right. Very good. Ooh, another player side scheme. So there's more player side schemes in this box than what I was expecting, which is nice because releasing a new mechanic, it's nice to have these different options in there, so that's very thoughtful. When defeated, each player may search their deck and discard pile for an identity-specific upgrade and put it into play. Nice. And here's a different type of research. It's called Digging Deep. After this card is discarded from the top of your deck, add it to your hand. Oh, so if it's discarded from the top of your deck, add it to your hand. Nice. That way if you're cycling cards, and looks like you can have up to 3 copies of that. And of course we've got our Energy, Genius, and Strength cards, which are in most hero decks. Didn't see one in Cable, any set in Cable, but yeah, we got them in Domino. We have Sharpshooter, which is an upgrader skill. We get, looks like a full round of those, 3 copies of those. Memories of Armageddon. Give the Nema Thurman players. So this is our obligation. Obligation, which is going to lead us right into our Nemesis pack. So we have Topaz, which is Domino's Nemesis. Here is her side scheme. Topaz side scheme, the minion Nemesis minion side scheme. Not my lucky day. We also have Prototype, which is another minion in the Nemesis set. And then we've got 2 cards that match each other. It is Superpower Feedback. So this is an attachment attached to your identity. All right, so that is Domino's Hero Kit. Of course, if I went too fast, you can always go back and rewind and stop the video and read the text on the cards. Hopefully you can see it. Hopefully the lighting here is set up in such a way that it makes it not hard to see. But those are our hero cards. For now, we'll set those up here in the corner while we open up our encounter cards. We'll take a break, get me a drink. All right. So Arclight is the first on the top of the Marauders deck. I'll go ahead and get the plastic off of these cards. I'll go ahead and do all 3. So I'd love to hear your comments. If you want to leave those down below, which one of these heroes do you think that you want to play first? And what do you think of the new mechanic, the player side scheme? I know that I didn't stop and read all of them, but I like the fact that it looks like we got several to pick from. I didn't count how many there were. I thought there'd just be maybe 1 or 2 in each deck, but it looks like in the cable deck there's quite a few. So I'll have to go back and read the rules on the side scheme and see how that actually plays out, but looks pretty interesting. I'll go ahead and clean up the area here, get all these decks clear of their plastic. All right, yeah, and other things too. Like you could comment on the artwork. What do you think of the artwork? Do you think that's looks like it goes along with the rest of the artwork in the game? What do you think about all those wild resources in the Domino deck? Looks like she's got a lot of versatility when it comes to kind of stacking things the way that she wants to. I guess that's pretty thematic to her character. All right, and we have two new aspects that we get to add cards to. Hero aspects. So we've got leadership and we got justice. All right, so let's take a look at this first pile here. I'll just put the whole deck in my hand and we'll look at them as we go. So here is a villain Arclight, villain A. There's also Blockbuster, who's a villain. Chimera, who is a villain. Grey Crow, who is a villain. Another one, Harpoon, Riptide, Vertigo. So we have several. Not unlike the Sinister Six, but there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 villains in this first encounter deck. And with different abilities, scheming, attacking. Be interested to see how those actually play out. Okay. And then here is our main scheme. Looks like it's in 2 parts. Mutant Massacre and Knock Knock. Then we have Morlocks. So this is all part of the Morlock Siege. So we have a Morlock, 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 and Morlock. Goes victory -1. Goes into the victory display when you defeat him. There's a Hide Treachery. There's Routed Environment. There's also a Bolstered Wrath. which is an attachment, +1 scheme, +1 attack attached to the villain. All right. Also have Push to the Limit, another attachment. So there's 19 cards in the Morlock, or the Marauders. Let's see, this is Morlock Siege. Let me make sure. These are all Marauders. 1 through 7. All right, we'll have to figure out Morlock Siege. We'll have to figure out how this all works. It says Marauders on side 1A. Side B for expert mode. 2 modular encounter sets, military grade, and mutant slayers. Put the routed environment into play. So we saw that. So it looks like interesting. So these Marauders is a 7-card set that's all villain. That works with that. Interesting. I'll have to see how that one works. Let's check out the rules on that one. By any means, let's see. Is where we're at now. So again, we were at 11 of 19. In the midst of chaos, marauding ain't easy. Another side scheme. Side scheme, territorial control. Back in action. 2 copies of Back in Action. Seek the Weak. 3 copies of that. So there's 3 copies of that one in there. When revealed alter ego. When revealed hero. The villain attacks you. If there's at least 1 villain under routed, this attack gains overkill. All right. A lot of attacking. So now we're reached our point. So that's all 19 cards. That's in the Morlock Siege. So we'll put those over here next to the Marauders. And then we get to, we talked about in the main scheme, adding military grade and mutant slayers to the encounter deck. So here's military grade. There's 5 copies there. So we have heavy armament, a titanium exoskeleton, inhibitor collar, 2 copies of that, as well as the Senator's support side scheme. And then Mutant Slayers, I believe, was the other one. Yeah, Mutant Slayers. So we have Arclight, Blockbuster, Chimera, Greycrest. So these are all duplicate copies of the villain. All right. And then there's 10 cards in this set. Bound by Business is the last treachery card. So that's the end of the modular sets that get shuffled into the encounter deck. So I'll put those all together here, and I'll put the villain on top of there, because now we're going to get to On the Run, which is a main scheme. So it must work also with the Marauders, side A, side B for expert. So good. So you use the same villains for both of these first scenarios for the Marauders. So that's a pretty neat way of doing things, keeping the villains going. Hidden in the Clutter. We got Hope's Captor, Escaping with Hope. So it's 2 parts to the main scheme. Hope's Captor, Hidden in the Clutter. We have 2 copies of that attachment. Then we have the Favored Weapon, Bushwhack. These are all On the Run cards. There's 11 copies, or 11 cards in On the Run. And so the last one is Tag Team. 2 copies of Tag Team. Right? And then let's take a look at the modular sets that get shuffled into the Gotta Get Away. So 2 modular encounter sets, Military Grade and Nasty Boys. So we saw military grade before. Now here's the Nasty Boys is the second one. So Gorgeous George is a Nasty Boy. We also have Hairbag, Ramrod, Ruckus, and then we know which direction we're going now because here's more Nasty Boys. We've got Slab and we've got Gnasty. All right. So that is our second scenario, which takes us into number 3. And one of my favorite all-time villains in Marvel is Juggernaut. Can't wait to play against Juggernaut. So we'll see how things go with him. There's a Juggernaut 1, 2, and 3 are the villains. Here's our main scheme. It looks like there's just one main scheme. I would assume that on the flip side of that, it says force interrupt when the scheme would be completed. Instead, do the following. All right, so remove all threat from here. If Juggernaut is exposed is in play, flip it. Place 1 momentum counter on Juggernaut. Juggernaut attacks each player in player order, even if they're in alter ego. So interesting. So 1B to the main scheme. There must be another loss condition somewhere on here. Interesting. All right. And then there's the helmet, Juggernaut's helmet. And then there's a card with him with his lid off. Juggernaut exposed. Okay, so that's a double-sided card. Excellent. Let's take a look at some more Juggernaut cards. We've got Head of Steam, which we would expect out of Juggernaut. And then here is Side Scheme, Building Momentum. We have Breakthrough, love the artwork. We have Flatten, just a couple of treachery cards there. There's 18 cards in the Juggernaut. Ground Pound is number 12, 2 copies of that. Then there's Trample. Looks like 2 copies of Trample. Alter Ego and Hero. When revealed actions. Cedric's Exemplar. 3 copies of that. So there's all of the Juggernaut cards. And I'll set those out here on the table. Here's that Hope Summers card. We saw Hope Summers in the rule book. Looks like there's two versions of Hope Summers. There's Captive Hope, Hope Summers, and Hope Summers. And neither of these, so that's an encounter card, and that's a hero card. Excellent. So then Juggernaut, he must have had some modular sets. Let's look at that main scheme setup. It says that it uses 1 modular encounter set, Black Tom Cassidy. So here's Black Tom. Black Tom Cassidy, who works with the Creeping Willows. We saw those on the Critical Encounters spoiler. So we have Creeping Willow and Black Tom Cassidy. It is a 7-card set, so we also have Making Green, and a Sound Thrashing is another Black Tom Cassidy card. Then we make it finally to Mr. Sinister, another fan favorite for a lot of players in the community. They've been looking forward to Mr. Sinister. So Mr. Sinister is a villain who has 3 different versions of himself, as well as several, it appears, let's see, 1A, 2A, 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 3A on the main scheme. So it looks like as far as the modular sets, this is where we put the Nasty Boys. 1 modular encounter set, the Nasty Boys. All right. So we're just doing a kind of a quick unboxing of everything. Try to keep it to about an hour or less. And then we'll dive into some card playing. All right, so now we've got Sinister Disguise is a attachment that goes on to Mr. Sinister. We have Sinister Soldier, a couple of them. We have Teleported Away, which is a side scheme. Genetic Mastery, 2 copies of that. Also the Modular Control, or Molecular Control. Sinister Schemes. Sinister Strike. And that is all of the Sinister cards. Mr. Sinister cards. There's 17 cards in that set. All right, very nice. I'll set him over here for now. Let's look at this modular set, Flight. There's 5 cards to Flight. So here's the first one. Aerial Bombardment is the second one. Out of Reach. So it's like the villain has found a way to dodge you. High Ground. Yeah, he has the high ground. And then there's Super Strength also as modular. So we've got Super Strength. We've got Impervious, Thrown Object. I'll take that. And another Super Strength card, which is in our final pack that we opened up. And that is I'll Take That. Okay, so apparently there's a lot of different abilities that Mr. Sinister can key in on. We saw Strength, we saw Flight. Now we got Telepathy, 5 cards in Telepathy. And then that takes us to Strife. All right, so let's set these cards over here with Mr. Sinister. And let's take a look at Strife. Strife has 21 cards in his kit. So the first 1, 2, 3 are all villain cards of Strife. His main scheme is 2 parts, Uncontrollable Power and Left to Your Fate. Okay. Then we've got Strife's Grasp, Mental Transferal. Let me get that right. Mental Transferal. All right. Mind Alteration, Mind Trap, Psychic Inertia. Okay, so this, I'm not as familiar with Strife as a villain. So I'll have to do a little bit of digging and looking into the lore. I just haven't read much. I did collect X-Force comics, I think back in the 90s, but not as many as I did X-Men. I was more focused on X-Men. So some of these X-Force villains I'm not as familiar with. So Zero is card number 13 of Strife's kit. It's a minion. Let's look and see what else we got here. We've got Cerebral Erasure, Telepathic Camouflage, Psionic Surge, Psychic Overload, Telekinetic Wave. Card 20 and 21 are both Telekinetic Wave. There's actually 3 copies of Telekinetic Wave. Return an upgrade or support you control to your hand. Strife activates against you. Ooh. Yeah. Well, this is the 5th villain of the set, so that's generally the most worthy. Hardest to beat, and it looks like Strife is really going to play with your mind. So I like it already. All right, so now we have Strobe, which is Extreme Measures. That's a modular set. Tempo, Thumbelina, Wild Side, and Extreme Measures is rounded out. 5th card. Name of the modular. We have Mutant Insurrection, 5 copies of that. Dragoness, Forearm, Reaper, Samurai, and the 5th card is Mutant Insurrection, another named card in the modular set. So there is a tremendous amount of new minions to explore in this box. All right, and then it takes us to our campaign cards. So here's our campaign cards. Assemble the team. There's 17 campaign cards, so I'll just go through these quickly. Establish Safe House. Gear Up. So these are all player side schemes. Player side schemes. Nice. Lots of player side schemes in the campaign. Pouches. A resource card. Pouches. New type of resource, and there's 4 copies of pouches in there. We can't have enough pouches, right? Let's see. I can never remember where I put anything. Deadpool. 4 copies. Pouches. Safe House. Alter Ego Action. Heal 2 damage from your identity. Draw 1 card. Any player may trigger this ability. Limit once per round. That is a support. It's It's also card number 11 of the campaign. We've got Lady Mastermind, Malice, Scrambler, Vanisher, Under Pressure, Overburdened, and finally another copy of Hope. Hope Summers of the X-Force. This is a basic card, basic ally. All right, player card. Interested to see how that works in the game. Hope Summers gains each trait on your identity. After you play Hope Summers from your hand, search your deck for a superpower card and add it to your hand and shuffle. Nice. So another interesting card to add to deck construction. Hope Summers. So that is all 260 cards of our brand new Next Evolution campaign box. Looking forward to diving into this one. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. So here's our Next Evolution rulebook, as well as our box. So thank you for watching my unboxing video today. I am the Board Game Lawyer, and I'll be bringing you some playthroughs of the physical cards that I received here. And again, I received these cards, this whole box, from Griffons Lair Game Shop out of Erie, Pennsylvania. So thanks again, Griffons Lair, for getting my brand new expansion to me on release day. And if you are interested in reaching out to them, I will put their information in my show notes down below. Good place to buy from, especially if you'd like to get your cards in a timely way. And I've been having a little bit of trouble with that lately with local shops, so I decided to branch out and try out Griffin's Lair, and they did not let me down. So thanks again, folks over there. And thanks for watching my playthrough today, or my unboxing today. If you'd like to reach out to me, I'm the BoardGameLawyer@gmail.com. You can shoot me an email over there. You also can catch me on Twitch. I do live streaming on Twitch, as well as posting videos to YouTube. So look forward to bringing you some actual gameplay here shortly. So until then, thank you very much for watching my unboxing today, and we'll see you again soon.